Ma'am, give me your ID right now.
Sir, what seems to be the problem?
You're acting suspicious. ID now.
I'm just getting gas. I can comply if you...
Stop talking and do what I told you.
My children are here. Please step back.
Hands where I can see them.
The dashboard camera footage.
It was just 3:17 p.m. on a scorching Tuesday, just a routine stop at the East Side Shell. But in the next few terrifying minutes, a mother and her children would face a nightmare that would shock the nation and expose the dark side of power, privilege, and unchecked authority. Full rewritten story. The dashboard camera footage revealed everything in crystal clear detail. At 3:17 p.m. on a scorching Tuesday afternoon, a black Mercedes sedan pulled into pump number 4 at the East Side Shell Station. Behind the wheel sat a distinguished woman in her early 50s, her hair pulled back in a neat bun, wearing the kind of professional attire that spoke of courtrooms and legal briefs. In the back seat, 2 children aged 8 and 12 were absorbed in their tablets, completely unaware that their ordinary day was about to become a nightmare that would forever change their family's life. What happened next would shock the nation, spark federal investigations, and result in one of the largest police brutality settlements in state history. But more than that, it would expose a culture of corruption and racial bias so deep that it would take years to fully unravel. The woman stepping out of that Mercedes had no idea she was about to become the center of a legal storm that would reshape how we think about police accountability. Before we dive into this incredible story, let me know in the comments where you're watching from around the world. And if this is your first time here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because stories like this one need to be told, and you won't want to miss how this unfolds. Trust me, what you're about to hear will leave you speechless. Judge Rebecca Coleman had just finished a particularly challenging day in family court. She had presided over 3 custody hearings, 2 adoption proceedings, and 1 case involving child endangerment that had kept her up the night before. As one of only 7 black female judges in the entire state, she carried the weight of representation on her shoulders every single day. She knew that her decisions, her demeanor, and even her appearance were scrutinized more closely than her white male counterparts. That afternoon, she had picked up her daughter Maya and son Joshua from their summer camp program. Maya was 8 years old, a bright kid who wanted to be a veterinarian when she grew up. Joshua, 12, was obsessed with basketball and had been begging his mom to let him try out for the travel team. They were typical kids with typical dreams, and Rebecca worked hard to give them a normal childhood despite the demands of her position. The gas station stop was routine. Rebecca's Mercedes was running low on fuel, and she wanted to fill up before the evening rush hour traffic made the drive home even longer. She pulled up to the pump, turned off the engine, and told the kids she'd be right back. Maya barely looked up from her tablet, where she was watching videos about baby animals. Joshua was deep in a basketball game on his phone. Rebecca stepped out of her car, inserted her credit card into the pump, and began the familiar process of filling her tank. The gas station was moderately busy with the usual mix of commuters heading home from work. Nothing seemed unusual. The sun was bright. The temperature was climbing toward 90 degrees. And Rebecca was already thinking about what to make for dinner. That's when Officer Kevin Nash spotted her from his patrol car parked across the street. Nash was a 15-year veteran of the Metro Police Department with a history that would later become the subject of intense scrutiny. He had joined the force straight out of high school, working his way up from beat cop to patrol supervisor. On paper, his record looked decent enough. He had received commendations for community service and had never been formally disciplined for excessive force. But scratched beneath the surface, and a different picture emerged. Internal complaints had been filed against Nash 7 times in the past 3 years. All 7 complaints came from black citizens who claimed he had treated them with unnecessary aggression or had stopped them without probable cause. Each complaint had been investigated by his own department and dismissed due to lack of evidence or conflicting witness statements. Nash's fellow officers consistently backed up his version of events, and the complainants were often portrayed as unreliable or having ulterior motives. What the department didn't know was that Nash had been posting on social media forums under an anonymous username for years. He shared his views about certain neighborhoods, certain types of people, and what he saw as the real problems facing law enforcement. These posts would later be discovered by federal investigators and would paint a picture of an officer whose personal beliefs had no business being anywhere near a badge and gun. That Tuesday afternoon, Nash claimed later in his incident report that he noticed a black Mercedes at the gas station and thought the vehicle looked suspicious. He said something about the way the driver was acting seemed off, though he could never articulate exactly what that meant. He decided to conduct what he called a welfare check. Nash pulled his cruiser into the gas station parking lot and approached Rebecca while she was still pumping gas. The children were still in the back seat, visible through the rear windows, still absorbed in their devices. Rebecca noticed a police car pull up, but didn't think much of it. Officers sometimes stopped at gas stations for coffee or snacks. She continued pumping her gas. Nash got out of his patrol car and walked directly toward Rebecca. His body language was already aggressive, his shoulders squared, his hand resting on his duty belt. Rebecca looked up as he approached, offering the polite smile she had learned to give to law enforcement officers, the kind of smile that said she was cooperative and non-threatening. Nash didn't return the smile. Instead, he demanded to see her identification. Rebecca, confused, asked if there was a problem. Nash repeated his demand louder this time, drawing the attention of other customers at nearby pumps. Rebecca remained calm and asked again what the issue was. She explained that she was simply getting gas and would be leaving shortly. This is when Nash made his first major mistake. He told Rebecca that she was acting suspicious and that he had received reports of someone matching her description involved in suspicious activity in the area. This was a complete lie, and the gas station security cameras would later prove that Nash had no radio communication about any suspicious activity. He had fabricated the entire justification for the stop. Rebecca, drawing on her years of legal experience, asked Nash to be specific about what activities she was suspected of. She spoke calmly and clearly, using the kind of measured tone she employed in her courtroom. She knew her rights, and she knew that Nash's behavior was already crossing legal lines. But she also knew that challenging a police officer, especially as a black woman, could escalate a situation quickly and dangerously. Nash didn't like being questioned. He stepped closer to Rebecca, invading her personal space. He told her to stop asking questions and produce her identification immediately. Rebecca, still trying to de-escalate, reached for her purse to retrieve her driver's license. As she did, Nash apparently decided that her movement toward her purse was threatening. What happened next was captured on multiple security cameras from different angles. Nash grabbed Rebecca's wrist and twisted it behind her back before she could even open her purse. She cried out in pain and told him he was hurting her. Nash ignored her and forced her to bend over the hood of her car. The gas pump handle was still in the tank, gas still flowing. Other customers at the gas station stopped what they were doing and began to stare. Some pulled out their phones and started recording. A few people called out asking if everything was okay. Inside the Mercedes, Maya and Joshua heard their mother's voice. They looked up from their devices to see a police officer forcing their mother over the hood of their car. Maya started crying immediately. Joshua, older and more aware, began recording on his phone while shouting for the officer to stop hurting his mom. Rebecca tried to explain to Nash that she was a judge, that there had been a misunderstanding, and that she would gladly show him her identification if he would just let her reach for it safely. Nash either didn't hear her or didn't care. He was committed to his course of action now, and backing down would mean admitting he had made a mistake.